Hare Krishna. Somebody can please lead the invocation prayers. Somebody.
Prabhuji, can I?
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Gyananjaya Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namo. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Padantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Shagragatam Sahagana Raghunatham and Bhitam Tam Sa Jivam Sadvaitam Sabhadutam Porigyana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishaka and Bhitamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Bindavoneshwari Prishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpataru Bhascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanavya Vaishnavavya Namo Namah. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming to read and discuss Krishna and Srila Prabhupada's instructions, and thank you in advance for applying those learnings in your lives. Today we will discuss inquiries submitted by you all largely on Canto 2, Chapter 4. Question number 1. When Sati was insulted in the assembly, many great sages and demigods remained silent to respect the social hierarchy and Daksha's position. Silence in the face of an insult to a Vaishnava devotee is a sin. How does a practitioner balance the social etiquette of respecting elders with the spiritual duty to protest against injustice? So it is not just a sin, rather, silence in face of an insult to a Vaishnava is an offense. So this question is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapters 1 to 7. Now the question says, Sati was insulted. Actually, it was Sati's husband, Shiva, the greatest Vaishnava, who was insulted. So I'll lay a foundation that Daksha is father of Sati. Sati is married to Shiva. Daksha is performing a yajna where many sages and demigods are invited. When Daksha walks into the assembly, all stand up as a respect to Daksha. Shiva does not stand up because Shiva is in constant meditation of Supreme Lord, and Shiva's position is higher than Daksha's position of Daksha being a Prajapati. Now Daksha thinks Shiva insulted Daksha by not standing up because Shiva is son-in-law. And then there were curses and counter curses between the followers of Daksha and followers of Shiva. And then another sacrifice, Daksha does not even invite Shiva. So Sati is offended that her father Daksha did not invite Shiva. So all in the assembly did not say anything against Daksha. And for all these people, personalities in the assembly who stayed silent, they actually got punishment for staying silent, because by staying silent, they basically agreed with Daksha's offenses. So by silence, they also offended Shiva. So the long story is that Sati gives up her body because she cannot stand the insult of a Vaishnava. So in this section of verses, Canto 4, Chapter 4, verse 17 states that one should not tolerate blasphemy of an authority, a Vaishnava, say Shiva in this example. If one sees blasphemy of Krishna or devotees, options are: one, should defeat the blasphemer with scriptural authority. Second is give up your body. And the third is block your ears and go away from that place. So all in the assembly who stayed silent when Daksha offended Shiva also became blasphemers simply by staying silent. Because staying silent means you are agreeing with Daksha. And further in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.14.32, we'll read these verses very soon. It also states that duty of saintly and devotee is to become angry at blasphemers. So coming back to the question, one should not tolerate blasphemy against Krishna or devotees and use one of the three options, that defeat the blasphemer by scriptural reference. Now this defeating is not to lose our anger. Rather, the goal is to provide scriptural reference to convince the blasphemer to ask for forgiveness, and this blasphemer should be able to come closer to Krishna. Second is you give up your body. Generally, this is not recommended. And the third is you block your ears and you go away from that place. Now, in terms of etiquette, you be calm and you provide scriptural reference to the blasphemer. I'll give you my own personal example that one time this devotee who has this natural tendency to just shout at others for no reason. So this one time I was also doing service for this devotee, and this devotee is shouting at others for no reason. I mean, somebody does wrong, you explain to them. But here this devotee is shouting for no reason. So I mentioned to this devotee that you should not shout. You have to explain nicely. Why do you have to shout? And here they haven't even done anything wrong. So I tried to explain to this devotee first in a calm manner. And then I said, if you don't change yourself, I am giving up this service. So the devotee said, well, no, you cannot give up the service. And I said, no, you need to change. Scripture says you should not blaspheme others. So I cannot go beyond scriptures. So I was calmly explaining to this devotee that scripture says you should not blaspheme, you should not chastise other devotees. And to begin with, the other devotees have done nothing wrong. It is just your nature to chastise others. But this devotee did not listen, so I gave up the service. I said, I cannot work with you because you are blaspheming devotees for no reason. Yeah, I tried first, but then I went away. So this is what we should do, that we should use scriptural reference in a calm manner. But if they don't listen, then we should leave the place and stop doing services with that person, because otherwise we are agreeing to their blasphemy and we also become blasphemers. Before we read the verses, does that help with the inquiry?
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhuji, the second point is, first point is defeat the blasphemer by scriptural reference, and third one is block your ear and leave the place. What is the second one? Give up your.
Yeah, second point is you give up your body.
Achha. What is that, Prabhuji? Give up your body means?
You commit suicide.
Oh my God.
Right, so this is not advisable. In the example in Canto 4 at the start, Sati gave up her body. Now that's a unique situation. You will soon hear the discussion coming up in Canto 4. But we don't. We use the step number 1 to convince the blasphemer. So we have to be strong enough in scriptures to convince the others in a calm manner. We don't have to become angry. Or we leave the place, we block our ears and we leave the place. Parth, Prabhu, Kunal?
Yes, Prabhuji, now it is clear.
No, I said I was clear in the inquiry response because this was my question.
All right. So we'll read the scriptural reference for what I described, that we don't have to stay silent. So I'll first bring up 4.4.17 and we'll read the translation and purport. So 4.4.17 is where the inquiry originated from. Raksha will read translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Sati continued, if one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, one should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender, and after that one should give up his own life. Purport: the argument offered by Sati is that a person who vilifies a great personality is the lowest of all creatures. But by the same argument, Daksha could also define himself by saying that since he was a Prajapati, the master of many living creatures, and one of the great officers of the great universal affair, his position was so exalted that Sati should accept his good qualities instead of vilifying him. The answer to that argument is that Sati was not vilifying but defending. If possible, she should have cut out Daksha's tongue because he blasphemed Lord Shiva. In other words, since Lord Shiva is the protector of religion, a person who vilifies him should be killed at once. And after killing such a person, one should give up one's life. That is the process. But because Daksha happened to be the father of Sati, she decided not to kill him but to give up her own life in order to compensate for the great sin she had committed by hearing the blasphemy of Lord Shiva. The instruction set forth here in Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should not tolerate at any cost the activities of a person who vilifies or blasphemes an authority. If one is a Brahmana, he should not give up his body because by doing so he would be responsible for killing a Brahmana. Therefore, a Brahmana should leave the place or block his ears so that he will not hear the blasphemy. If one happens to be a Kshatriya, he has the power to punish any man. Therefore, a Kshatriya should at once cut out the tongue of the vilifier and kill him. But as far as the Vaishyas and Sudras are concerned, they should immediately give up their bodies. Sati decided to give up her body because she thought herself to be among the Sudras and Vaishyas. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.32, Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Sudra, women laborers and the mercantile class are on the same level. Thus, since it is recommended that Vaishyas and Sudras should immediately give up their bodies upon hearing blasphemy of an exalted person like Lord Shiva, she decided to give up her life. Hare Krishna.
Right, so the 3 options are given. Yes, for Kshatriya is there to kill. So we should just try to explain, convince, or leave the place. Now a question is posted in the chat that when a senior devotee is chastising, it's like a teacher teaching the student, then this blasphemy point will not apply. So correct point, that a senior devotee is teaching you something, although the senior devotee can teach in various ways, does not have to always chastise. But even if the teacher is chastising, that chastisement is not blasphemy. That chastisement is for the learning of the junior or the learning of the devotee. Everybody on the same page? So I will also bring up 4.14.32, which says that saintly should stand up. Subhash Prabhu, translation purport 4.14.32.
Hare Krishna. The saintly sages continued, these impious, impudent men do not deserve to sit on the throne at all. He is so shameless that he even dare insult the supreme personality of God if not his Lord Vishnu. One should not purport, one should not at any time tolerate blasphemy and insults against the Lord Vishnu or his devotees. Our devotees generally very humble and meek. He is reluctant to take a fight with anyone, nor does he envy anyone. However, if your devotee immediately becomes filled with anger when he sees that Lord Vishnu or his devotee is insulted, this is the duty of the devotee. Although devotee maintains an attitude of meekness and gentleness, it is a great fault in this path if he remains silent in the Lord or his devotee's gospel. Hare Krishna.
Right, so devotee is meek and humble. Devotee does not pick up a quarrel, but still he should not tolerate the blasphemy of Krishna or his devotees. Everybody on the same page? Question number 2. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.22, it has been mentioned that words spoken by the Lord are vibrations of transcendental sounds, and Vedic sounds are recorded in symbolic expressions. Can you please explain me in understanding this? So, Hare Krishna written in English words is symbolic representations of spiritual. Although Hare Krishna is written in plain English, but is still spiritual. And the English is the symbolic representation. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 3. In an earlier class on devotee inquiry discussion, you discussed a purport mentioning that one must not imagine the Lord while chanting, instead perform offenseless chanting, after which the Lord automatically appears. I find it hard to chant without meditating on his form, mainly his face. Even his lotus feet is difficult. Am I creating an offense here? So it's not an offense. Rather, we have discussed the Siddha Pranali process where a neophyte prematurely imagines that he or she got darshan of Shri Shri Radha Krishna, say while doing japa, and the Siddha Pranali devotee thinks he has become advanced. So Siddha Pranali is not the same as meditating on the limbs of the Lord. It is okay to visualize the Lord while chanting. Everyone will have different ways of focusing. So whatever works for you, continue. As long as you don't become Siddha Pranali, as long as you don't say, oh, look, I got darshan. No, you're just trying to meditate on the limbs of the Lord. And as you keep advancing, one will be more focused on the lotus feet as compared to the face of Krishna. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 4. Why is yoga considered a spiritual practice by everyone nowadays? Aren't physical exercise and meditation only helping the body and mind, which is still in the material realm? So people in material world do not know yoga means to connect with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bodily exercise, although they are called yoga, is not actually yoga. Yes, physical exercise help body and mind at material realm. Hence, this exercise is not yoga. Connecting with the Supreme Lord is the actual meaning of yoga. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 5. In most of Bhagavatam that we have covered, it categorically mentions how we are not meant for economic development. Since birth, we, however, are trained differently, largely due to our ignorance. For a neophyte, it becomes overwhelmingly to bridge this gap, material versus spiritual. Bhagavatam tells us to shun all of this and become spiritual. But the path shown is of really high standard. How to receive guidance where one can progress and gradually transition from years of conditioning to a spiritual life, taking small steps. So small steps is appropriate to come out of years of conditioning. This inquiry number 5 is very much a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21. Chapter 21 is titled Instructions by Prithu Maharaj. So Prithu Maharaj is an incarnation of the Lord and is instructing the citizens. So we'll read these verses that I'm quoting. So in Bhagavatam 4.21.31 and 32, Prithu Maharaj instructs citizens to do pure devotional service. And the citizens respond that we are drowned in household material activities. How can we worship the Lord with pure bhakti? Therefore, in the next verse, number 33, Prithu Maharaj says that if pure bhakti is not possible, then do karma mishra bhakti. Karma mishra bhakti means where the bhakti component is more than karma. And Prithu Maharaj further makes it easy in the next verses 34-35 that if karma mishra bhakti is also not possible, then do bhakti mishra karma. Bhakti mishra karma means karma part is more than bhakti. That do some bhakti according to your capacity. So the answer to the question is actually already in the question, that take small steps. Start with bhakti mishra karma, where karma part is more. Yes, do some bhakti and have a goal to reach to karma mishra bhakti, where bhakti is more, and have the further goal to reach pure devotional service. So we'll read these Prithu Maharaj's verses from 4.21, 31 to 35 translations. Priyanka will read from the screen. I have Canto 4, Chapter 21, titled Instructions by Prithu Maharaj. And we are reading 31 to 35 translations. Priyanka.
Hare Krishna. Verse 31 translation. By the inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanse the dirt which has accumulated in their minds during innumerable births. Like the Ganges water, which emanates from the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord, such a process immediately cleanses the mind, and thus spiritual or Krishna consciousness gradually increases. 32. When a devotee takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is completely cleansed of all misunderstanding or mental speculation, and he manifests renunciation. This is possible only when one is strengthened by practicing bhakti yoga. Once having taken shelter at the root of the lotus feet of the Lord, a devotee never comes back to this material existence, which is full of the threefold miseries.
Right, so these are pure devotional service, 31, 32. And citizens say it's not possible. So 33 says, okay, then do Mishra Bhakti, there where Bhakti is more. Continue.
33. Prithu Maharaj advised his citizens, engaging your minds, your words, your bodies, and the results of your occupational duties, and being always open minded, you should all render devotional service to the Lord. According to your abilities and the occupations in which you are situated, you should engage your service at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full confidence and without reservation. Then you will surely be successful in achieving the final objective in your lives.
Right, so this says occupations and spiritual, meaning karma mishra bhakti, that where bhakti component is more while you are doing your karma. And if this is not possible, then 34-35 he says, do some bhakti, means do bhakti mishra karma, where your karma is more and you are doing some bhakti, so that little by little you purify. Priyanka, continue.
34. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental and not contaminated by this material world. But although he is concentrated spirit, soul, without material variety for the benefit of the conditioned soul, he nevertheless accepts different types of sacrifice performed with various material elements, rituals, and mantras, and offered to the demigods under different names according to the interests and purposes of the performers. 35. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is all pervading, but he is also manifested in different types of bodies which arise from a combination of material nature, time, desires, and occupational duties. Thus, different types of consciousness develop just as fire, which is always basically the same, blazes in different ways according to the shape and dimension of firewood. Hare Krishna.
Right, so he says, do different kinds of sacrifices. Means your karma portion is more, your bhakti is less, but still do some bhakti so that you get purified as you progress. Does that answer the inquiry? All right, question number 6. Why are Lord's actions called pastimes and not work? Is it because he is enjoying his actions like a human enjoys the leisure? Or because he gets no material benefit out of it but still does it? Very elevated inquiry. So when a parent comes home end of the day, he will play with his child because the parent is wanting some enjoyment from that activity. Therefore, the parent's activity is called activity. Now, Lord is Atmaram. He has nothing to achieve. He is self-sufficient. Therefore, he is not doing any activities to gain anything. Hence, Lord's activities are not activities, rather pastimes. Lord is doing the pastimes out of self-sufficient happiness to share the happiness with others so that all can get inspired to go back home, back to Godhead. Although one devotee has asked this question, I'm pretty sure all at some point may have this inquiry. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
All right, thank you. Question number 7. What Mangalacharan prayers do we say? Is it the invocation prayers? So Mangalacharan prayers are the same as invocation prayers that we recite. I mean, many have long invocation prayers. For example, my spiritual master has a very long invocation prayers. But they are still Mangalacharan prayers. So do some invocation, do some Mangalacharan. Question number 8. Are Jnanis same as impersonalist? And are all impersonalist Mayavadis? So you are correct that Jnanis are same as impersonalist. Jnanis are same as Brahmavadis. So we have discussed towards end of Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 that Brahmavadis are not Mayavadis. Due to lack of devotee association, Brahmavadis only know up to the Brahman effulgence, but Brahmavadis are not offensive to the Lord. Mayavadis, they know about the Lord, but Mayavadis are offensive because Mayavadis consider Lord's form to be material and they want to go beyond the Lord's form, and they consider Brahman effulgence to be the highest when Krishna has clearly established in Bhagavad Gita 14.27 that Lord is the basis of Brahman effulgence. Question number 9. Hanumanji is a devotee of the Lord and not a demigod. So people who worship him directly without following the bhakti process, are they doing the right thing? Discussion from Srimad Bhagavatam is that those who worship Brahmaji as independent of Lord, such worshippers of Brahmaji do not go to spiritual world when Brahmaji's 100-year life ends and the entire universe is annihilated. While those who worship Brahmaji as a devotee of Krishna, such worshippers go to spiritual world together with Brahmaji when Brahmaji's 100-year life ends and the entire universe is annihilated. So one should glorify Hanumanji as a great devotee of Lord Ram and not worship him in any other way. Worshipping Hanumanji in some other way has little to no results. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 10. Ravana and Hiranyakashipu were devotees of the Lord. So what about Kamsa? Is there any backstory about him in the scriptures? There is definitely history of Kamsa, but there is no need to worry about demoniac Kamsa. There are more than enough pastimes of pure devotees throughout Srimad Bhagavatam that we should try to absorb ourselves into. Why do we have to worry about demoniac people? Everybody can do that. Does that help with the inquiry? Yes, no, silence.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question number 11. Why did Arjuna seek benedictions from demigods to help carry out Krishna's will? Why did Krishna not stop Arjuna from such acts? So in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.12.9, we'll soon read, it describes that pure devotee, Dhruv Maharaj, took benediction from demigod Kuvera. Now, Dhruv Maharaj is a pure devotee and Kuvera is not a pure devotee. Dhruv Maharaj has higher status than Kuvera. Still, Dhruv Maharaj take benediction from Kuvera because for a Vaishnava, there is no objection to taking a benediction from demigod if it is favorable for advancing in Krishna consciousness. So, the situation for Dhruv Maharaj and Kuvera is that Dhruv Maharaj killed lot of yakshas, and Kuvera being the head of certain class of people, Kuvera could have become offended, and that offense could have hampered Dhruv Maharaj and his family in progressing on the path of bhakti. Therefore, Swayambhuva Manu, grandfather of Dhruv Maharaj, advises Dhruv Maharaj to take benediction from Kuvera. That if Kuvera gives you benediction, then you will know that he has not taken any offense. So it was beneficial. So for a Vaishnava, whatever is beneficial for bhakti, there is no hesitation in taking benedictions from demigods. So Arjuna also took benedictions from demigods, not for his enjoyment. Rather, Arjuna took Divya Astra from demigods to use these in service of Krishna. So let's read 4.12.9, translation and purport. Parth Prabhu, 4.12.9, translation and purport from the screen.
Hare Krishna. Canto 4, chapter 12, and verse 9. The son of Idavida, Lord Kuvera, was very pleased and happily he gave Dhruva Maharaja the benediction he wanted. Therefore, he disappeared from Dhruva's presence. Maharaj returned to his capital city. Purport. Kuvera, who is known as the son of Idavida, was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj because he did not ask him for anything materially enjoyable. Kubera is one of the demigods, so one may put forward the argument, why did Dhruva Maharaj take a benediction from a demigod? The answer is that for a Vaishnava, there is no objection to taking a benediction from a demigod if it is favorable for advancing Krishna consciousness. The gopis, for example, worshipped Katayani, a demigoddess, but the only benediction they wanted from the goddess was to have Krishna as their husband. A Vaishnava is not interested in asking any benediction from the demigods, nor is he interested in asking benediction from Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said in Bhagavatam that liberation can be offered by Supreme Person, but even a pure devotee is offered liberation by the Supreme Lord. He refused to accept it. Dhruva Maharaj did not ask Kubera for transference to the spiritual world, which is called liberation. He simply asked that whatever he would remain, whether in the spiritual or material world, he would always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A Vaishnava is always respectful to everyone. So when Kubera offered him a benediction, he did not refuse it, but he wanted something which would be favorable to his advancement in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Right, so the question that we have on the screen, question number 11, is identical to the line in the purport highlighted, that why did Dhruva Maharaj take benediction from demigod? And the answer is, for a Vaishnava, there is no objection to taking benediction from demigod if it is favorable for advancing in Krishna consciousness. And what did he ask? That wherever he remains, spiritual or material world, should always remember Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's asking bhakti, nothing else. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 12. Why do audiences who listen to week-long Bhagavad Saptah, 7-day recitations hosted by professional reciters, usually remain completely attached to family life, wealth, and sense gratification? What is missing? Devotion is missing. And these professional reciters have money-mindedness. So both points. Devotion is missing and they are money-mindedness. Therefore, whosoever listens from professional reciters like the Bhagavad Sapta that is very common in India, they don't get devotion. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes that the pure devotee carries the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. So when the pure devotee is speaking, that saffron dust from the lotus feet of the Lord enters our heart and our ears and our mind so that we purify and we also get devotion. But the professional reciters, they are not having any devotion. On the contrary, they are actually having money-mindedness. So they infuse that money-mindedness into the listeners, and therefore the hearers of Bhagavad Sapta recited by professional reciters, these people are very much attached to material life. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 13. Why must a devotee understand the creation through prayer and surrender, bhakti, rather than trying to analyze it through independent empirical scientific speculation? Our independent study, it is not possible for us to understand. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has clearly described that you will understand Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam scriptures when you hear in association of devotees. By our own analysis, it is not possible. Our own study, it is not possible. So I will bring up on screen Bhagavatam 4.9.5, where Dhruv Maharaj, who is a 5-year-old boy, has never gone to school. But all of a sudden, he is reciting beautiful prayers. He knows the conclusion of all Vedic scriptures. How is that possible? Because Dhruv Maharaj, 5-year-old boy, did bhakti, and Vishnu, who appeared in front of him, touched his conch shell on his forehead. So conch shell is a representation of Vedas. And by touching the conch shell on the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj got all the conclusions of Vedic literature. 5-year-old boy has never gone to school, but is reciting beautiful, beautiful prayers. So let's read 4.9.5 translation and purport that Prabhupada explains the process to understand Vedic knowledge. Remya, 4.9.5 translation purport from the screen.
At that time, Dhruv Maharaja became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and the relationship with all living entities. In accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread, Dhruva, who in the future would receive a planet which would never be annihilated even during the time of dissolution, offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers. Purport. There are many important items to be considered in this verse. First of all, the relationship between the absolute truth and the relative material and spiritual energies is here understood by a student who has complete knowledge of the Vedic literature. Dhruv Maharaja never went to any school or academic teacher to learn the Vedic conclusion, but because of his devotional service to the Lord, as soon as the Lord appeared and touched his forehead with his conch shell, automatically the entire Vedic conclusion was revealed to him. This is the process of understanding Vedic literature. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. The Vedas indicate that only to one who has unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord as well as in the spiritual master is the Vedic conclusion revealed. The example of Dhruva Maharaja is that he engaged himself in devotional service to the Lord according to the order of his spiritual master Narada Muni. As a result of his rendering such devotional service with great determination and authority, the personality of Godhead personally manifested himself before him. Dhruva was only a child. He wanted to offer nice prayers to the Lord, but because he lacked sufficient knowledge, he hesitated. But by the mercy of the Lord, as soon as the Lord's conch shell touched his forehead, he became completely aware of the Vedic conclusion. That conclusion is based on proper understanding of the difference between Jiva and Paramatma, the individual soul and the super soul. The individual soul is forever a servant of the super soul, and therefore his relationship with the super soul is to offer service. This is called Bhakti Yoga or Bhakti Bhava. Dhruva Maharaja offered his prayers to the Lord not in the way of the impersonal philosophers, but as a devotee. Therefore, it is clearly said here, Bhakti Bhava. The only prayers worth offering are those offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose reputation is spread far and wide. Dhruva Maharaja wanted to have the kingdom of his father, but his father refused even to allow him to get on his lap. In order to fulfill his desire, the Lord had already created a planet known as the pole star, Dhruvalokam, which was never to be annihilated even at the time of the dissolution of the universe. Dhruva Maharaja attained this perfection not by acting hastily, but by patiently executing the order of his spiritual master, and therefore he became so successful that he saw the Lord face to face. Now, he was further enabled by the causeless mercy of the Lord to offer fitting prayers to the Lord. To glorify or offer prayers unto the Supreme, one needs the Lord's mercy. One cannot write to glorify the Lord unless one is endowed with his causeless mercy. Hare Krishna.
Right, so Dhruva Maharaj attained perfection not acting hastily, but by executing Bhakti Yoga as the order of spiritual master. And you need Lord's mercy even to recite the prayers. So next time you go to the temple, pray to the Lord first that, Lord, give me mercy so that I can recite some prayers for your glorification. And in the first paragraph, we clearly say, Dhruva Maharaj never went to school. But as soon as the Lord touched the conch shell on his forehead, everything, the conclusion of Vedic literature became revealed to him. Prabhupada says, this is the process to understand Vedic literature. Not by ourselves, it's not possible. We have to rely on spiritual master and Krishna. We have to endeavor. We don't have to sit idle. We have to endeavor. But whatever you all are also understanding is because you do have mercy from some spiritual master, whether or not you recognize. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 14 from Bhagavatam 2.3.10. How can unmixed bhakti yoga be performed regardless of inner motive? Is pure motive important for unmixed bhakti? So Nectar of Devotion has the definition of pure devotional service. Forget your motive. The only way to be in pure devotion is by satisfying Krishna as Krishna desires. Nectar of Devotion says, Anya abhilashita shunyam, means all your own aspirations are shunyam. Jnana karmadi anavratam. Anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. Bhakti uchate. that anukulyena Krishna anushilanam, that is pure devotional service. Does that answer the inquiry?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the way this purport was written, it seemed that to me that it was written that the motive doesn't matter. So even if it is not pure, it is okay. Which is why I was confused.
So 2.3.10, I will bring up on screen. Definitely a very nice verse to recite. 2.3.10 says that whether you have material desire, whether you have no desire, or whether you want to attain liberation, by all means should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the verse and the purport is trying to include anyone and everyone, versus the question is about pure bhakti, right? So there's a difference between what 2.3.10 says and what your question is. Who wants to recite 2.3.10 and read the translation? Somebody? Very beautiful verse.
Prabhuji, may I?
Go ahead.
अकाम सर्व कामो वा मोक्ष काम उदारधिः तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन यजेत पुरुषं परम्. Translation: a person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the Personality of Godhead.
Right. So here 2.3.10 is trying to bring everyone within this circle of bhakti. But the question number 14 says about pure devotion. So there's a difference between what 2.3.10 says and what question says. Abhishek Prabhu?
Prabhuji, can you check the last line of the purport?
2.3.10?
Yes, yes.
Okay, point me what you are referring to. Read.
The last line says, this implies that Bhakti Yoga may be perfectly administered without any mixture of karma and jnana. As the unmixed sun rays is very forceful and is therefore called Tivra, similarly, unmixed Bhakti Yoga of hearing and chanting may be performed by one and all, regardless of the inner motive.
Yeah, so starting can be done by anyone, right? This is Mishra Bhakti, right? When somebody is doing bhakti together with desire for material things, together with desire for liberation, that is Mishra Bhakti. And pure bhakti verse also says, so if you go to 2.3.10, it says whether one is full of material desire, then it says without material desire. So without material desire becomes pure devotion, right? And if you have material desire or if you are desiring liberation, that is mixed bhakti. So verse is trying to include everyone, saying whether you have material desires, whether you are a pure devotee, whether you are wanting liberation, tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param, that by all means one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what here is saying at the end. Does that help you, Abhishek?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Everybody on the same page? So the line that we read, that it says that Bhakti Yoga can be performed without karma and jnana. Means Bhakti is independent. Bhakti is pure devotional service. But when you have mixture with some motive, then it is mixed bhakti, Mishra Bhakti. Question number 15. If a teacher wants to bring out specific point in a class for the benefit of an individual or the group, is it still a pure environment? considering the goal of glorification of the Lord is slightly shifted to bring out a point. Now understand this glorification of the Lord. That's your confusion part here. Prabhupada has said that Prabhupada's purports are ecstasy for Krishna. Prabhupada purports are shattering the misconceptions of people in the material world, and they are ecstasies. How can Prabhupada purport be ecstasies if they are only shattering the misconceptions? So how is that glorification? How is it possible? We have to understand that, yes, one is to glorify the Lord, that you are worshipping the Lord or glorifying. Yes, that is glorification. But what's the real purpose of the Lord? The real purpose of the Lord, the mission of the Lord is to bring everyone closer to Krishna. So when Prabhupada says, my purports are shattering the misconceptions of people, the result will be that they will go closer to Krishna. Therefore, Prabhupada's purports are ecstasies for the Lord. So it's a pure environment, right? Because it's giving ecstasy to the Lord. What more can you expect? So a teacher trying to bring exactly what Prabhupada is doing in his purports, what is Prabhupada doing? He's shattering the misconceptions. He's not shifting from the point. The point is bhakti yoga, everyone should be doing it. This will give ecstasy to the Lord. Does that help with the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. That was very helpful.
Last question for today. Number 16. Why Mangalacharan prayers come after Sukadeva Goswami? Already answered some questions of Parikshit Maharaj in the first 3 chapters. Very good. So, understanding the practice point, I'll give you my personal example also on this. That Sukadeva Goswami has come to the scene and he first tries to console Parikshit Maharaj by immediately answering his immediate burning questions. And then he says, I will recite the whole Bhagavatam to you, and now I will start with Mangalacharan prayers. So I will give you my personal example on this. So I'm an accountant here in Toronto. There is a group of accountants from India and other countries around. And it's a pretty large group. Some 5,000 accountants are there. And they meet generally every month. And once a year, generally once a year, I go for Bhagavad Gita preaching. So some 50, 60, 70, 100 devotees attend. Well, why I call them devotees is because they are potential devotees. Right now, they are materialistic people. So they attend, and I don't start with invocation prayers. I first lay a foundation because I am going to them once a year. I lay a foundation that who am I? What are we gathered here for? What am I going to talk about? I'm going to lay a foundation that I'm going to cover this verse briefly. This I'm going to talk about. I'm talking for about 5 minutes or so, and then I say the process is to start with invocation prayers, and then I start with invocation prayers. So what I'm doing, I'm first trying to connect with them. I'm not there just to talk about Krishna. No, there's first connection. They need to have some connection before they hear attentively. I'm not there to just talk like a parrot. right? We are there to convince them. So to convince somebody, I need to have some connection with them. So I don't start with invocation prayers. No, I am first setting a base. So invocation prayers, Mangalacharan prayers, can be recited at any time. Start, middle, or end. Yes, ideally somewhere at the start. Now, you may also think, well, 3 chapters, that's a lot of time. Well, the 3 chapters, if you only read the translation, because the conversation between Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj will be only the translations or the Sanskrit verse. If you only read the translations for the 3 chapters, it will take you about 5-10 minutes, not a long time. Right, so Sukadeva Goswami is first calming down Parikshit Maharaj as well as calming down all the sages assembled there, because if you recall, if you go back, that they did not have a clear-cut answer that what should Parikshit Maharaj do. Some said, oh, do this, some said, do that. So Sukadeva Goswami is first setting the base, calming everyone down. He says, now I'm going to recite the whole Bhagavatam to you. Yes, I have given you a brief introduction, a brief snapshot of some of your questions. I'm going to answer in detail now. And that's when he starts with Mangalacharan prayers. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? So today I'm going to send you the link for Canto 2, Chapter 5, and it will finish the unit number 6. Therefore, I will also send you the revision recording. So I'm going to send you 2 recordings. The revision recording has slightly more discussion on the creation part. The creation part discussion is only briefly in the first class recording of where the verses are discussed. Then in the revision recording, there is a lot more discussion. And then the subsequent lecture that I'm going to give you the next class, at the start, there is significantly long discussion on the creation part. So these are very technical topics. Listen to these recording with rapt attention, as you always do. You probably are bound to have a lot more questions. So please bring all your questions and we'll try to answer all of them. Of course, they get answered as you will progress. They will get answered as you progress. So I had also explained to all of you earlier that from next Sunday, 24th May, at batch 3 and 4, on Sundays, Toronto time 7 a.m., India time 4:30 p.m. and Nepal time 4:45 p.m., devotees are going to do bigger presentations. All devotees have done spectacular task in preparing their slides. So I request all of you to attend all these sessions as much as is possible, or at least listen to the recordings. So the very first one next Sunday is very important, very practical, on Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verses 54 to 72. Our dear Abhishek Prabhu, present among us, is also going to do an amazing presentation on why we should chant anyways. He was referring to 2.3.10 today. And our dear Remya also, she is going to present on Nectar of Instruction, text number 2 and 3. So very practical topics. There are topics on Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Shloki verses. And your Bhagavatam verses are also there. And other devotees from this batch, Diksha, Sumnima, Priyadarshini, Riya, their topics are coming up and will get populated here very, very soon. So try your best to attend these additional classes, or at least listen to the recording. I'm not forcing all of you to attend the classes in person. By all means, attend if you can and ask questions, and you will realize the devotees have done amazing preparation for their respective presentations. And if any one of you is still interested to do these presentations, please let me know. Some of you are qualified for doing these presentations. So connect with me if you're interested. It's a very nice learning experience that when you prepare for these presentations, it takes you out of your comfort zone and you end up researching a lot and you end up gaining a lot for yourself. Abhishek Prabhu, you want to share your experience for preparing for these presentations?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Um, uh, First, I would like to thank you for giving us this opportunity. Even though this is not easy and many times probably we don't do very nicely, but you are always helping us to uh, prepare nicely and sometimes, like many times, reminding us how to do better. So for me, the presentation, I'm I'm still waiting for your more comments from you. But the presentation experience has been very nice because it makes like we do something and then it is not very good, and then you give us comments and then we go and read and then search more and then come up with something, and then as you were telling that you give us more pointers, so this way we can we read in a lot of depth and breadth, which is very nice, also helps us to connect to scriptures, and this is a very nice exercise. I personally feel that that reading has helped me, at least this little topic I can go a little bit in more detail, which is helpful for me. Thank you.
Very good. So yes, this is our practice ground, right? I'm not here to spoon feed you. So when Abhishek Prabhu and all the presenters, I give them pointers and they go and research. Or even Ramya got some lectures from me for her preparation. Abhishek Prabhu also got a lot of lectures, all of them. So these presentations, if you attend or if you do these presentations, you will realize the benefit that when you attend Sunday feast or the weekly feast classes or any event classes, those who are good presenters, they will present in that structured manner. Not all presenters are good, but at least those who are good presenters, they will present in this structured manner. So you also get a lot of benefit simply by from this exercise. You appreciate the Sunday feast classes, that it takes a lot of effort. Abhishek Prabhu has been preparing this for such a long time, not just Abhishek Prabhu, all of them, all presenters have been preparing their slides for a very, very long time because it takes a lot of effort. It's no easy task. So attend, you will realize the benefit from attending all these lectures. They are amazing. All topics are amazing. All the coming up topics are also going to be amazing. And you will really, really enjoy. So try your best to attend in person. From next Sunday, you may have to attend 2 classes. Although understand that these lectures are generally 45 minutes, so the class length will be shorter. Maybe 60 minutes max, depending on number of inquiries. And then you can come to these regular Sunday classes. So take a snapshot of what you have on the screen. The other topics will also get populated as we progress, and I will update the Google Excel and update you all also. Everybody can do that, please.
Yes,
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. I don't have anything more to discuss. You have a lot of endeavor to do today. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.